What's going on in here? It's so nice outside. The sun is shining and the birds are singing. Why are you kids inside?
Because you just brought us lunch, Grandpa.
And why are you here all the time, chicken?
I'm not always here.
Well, every time I see you, you're here.
It's because you're the one that's always here.
What do you know, smart guy? When I was your age, I was working 2 jobs. And I went to school, and I made the dean's list every semester.
Well, there are child labor laws now, Grandpa.
Hey, Mikey makes the dean's list, and there's a lot more stuff we have to know because of all the wars and stuff.
Well, sit up straight. Finish your lunch and go outside. Oh, I should have known it was you here with my Mikey. Every time there's trouble, you're right next door.
Yeah, I'm always right next door to where the trouble is. That's where you live.
Mikey never got in trouble before he met you.
We were 2 years old.
Yeah, smart guy. You know what a felony conviction does to your chances of getting into a good college?
There were no charges, Grandpa.
What are you, a lawyer now? Should I start calling you Matlock?
Grandpa, it wasn't a big deal.
There's way cooler lawyers than Matt.
I never got in trouble when I was your age. We never would have been out till all hours of the morning. I joined the Army. I was class president.
Weren't you also working 2 jobs and making the dean's list?
Sit up straight. Get out in the car. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Well, look who's here.
Hey, Pop.
I'm not your pop.
What? I know you're not my real Pop, but remember, I grew up next door to you. You always told us to call you Pop.
I know you. I remember you. Don't act like I'm stupid. I remember you and that Rico always getting my Mikey into trouble. I remember when you and your father were the same age as each other.
Well, that doesn't sound right.
Sit up straight. You know what your problem is?
Is it that my generation,
Your generation doesn't know the value of hard work. What do you know?
I don't know, man.
Hello?
Hey, Grandmom.
Kevin?
Yes, Grandmom, how are you?
Is that you?
Yes, Grandmom, it's Kevin.
How are you, dear?
I'm doing fine, Grandmom.
Do you remember Dr. Duckworth from next door?
Yeah, of course I remember him, Grandmom. I just saw him the other day in the park.
Well, he passed away this morning. I saw it on the Facebook.
Yeah, I was just reading that. Betsy posted something on there. It looked like his whole biography.
It was 3 pages long.
Well, I mean, he did a lot, Grandmom. I think he fought in the war.
Well, it looks like he won it all by himself. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Mikey, come on in. I'm sorry to hear about your grandfather.
Oh, I can't stay. I'm on my way down to the community center to see some of the retired folks that he hung out with.
Well, what's up, man?
Hey, would you mind coming to the funeral tomorrow and saying a few words?
Are you sure you want me to? Can't I just make you a casserole or something? What about your 2 older sisters or your brother Billy?
Well, none of them can make it. You know, Kevin, he wasn't a favorite in the family. We're going to have a minister there, but I wanted to hear from someone who really knew him.
Well, all right, Mikey, I'll see what I can come up with.
Thanks, Kev. And so we bid farewell to Manfred Beauregard, Pop Duckworth. I knew him well. He never had an unkind word to say about anyone, and he will be missed by friends and family alike. And now, anyone who wishes to say a word about Manfred, please step forward. He bailed me out of jail after a wild night in Amsterdam in 1953. My pop was always encouraging and kind and compassionate, and I will always miss him.
Hi, my name's Kevin. Mikey asked me to say a few words about Pop, and I agreed to, as long as I got to tell the truth. And I gotta say, I've heard all the nice things everybody's saying up here. You know, how patient he was, and he never complained. And I just gotta say, that's not the Pop that I knew. In fact, you could say he didn't do much else sometimes but complain. Now, I first met Mikey when we were 2. He moved in next door, and then later on his grandfather moved in with him. We were walking home from 5th grade one day, I think, when I first met Pop. He was waving his cane in my face and yelling at me for something I was doing or not doing. Or you always knew when Pop was talking to you because he was looking right at you, screaming in your face and waving his cane. So there was never any confusion about who he was talking to. Pop did not like me. I was the cause of 80% of Mikey's problems. The other 20% was Rico. Pop liked to talk about how things were when he was my age. When he was my age, everything was better. Things were cheaper, bigger, better, lasted longer, and smelled nicer. Movies were longer, girls were prettier, colors were brighter. The flavor of chewing gum lasted for weeks. Of course, things were also tougher. Life was harder. You had to walk everywhere. There was cocaine in the soda, and people smoked in the doctor's office. But he didn't complain. He liked it that way. Of course, when I was a kid, I was real mouthy, and I would give it right back to him. But I think he kind of respected that. Anyway, that was the Pop that we all knew growing up in that neighborhood. And a lot of the kids were scared of him. But let me tell you something else about Pop that not a lot of people knew back then. There were 12 kids growing up in my house. My mom was sometimes overwhelmed. And Pop sometimes would come home and buy sandwiches for everyone in the neighborhood. Of course, he would yell at us for eating in the kitchen and tell us how much better the sandwiches were when he was a kid. But those were some good afternoons. And one night when we were in school, I got myself into a little bit of a jam. And Mikey got Pop to come down to the police station and pick us up and take us home. And you know, he never even asked me what happened. He never even asked me what I did. And he didn't even tell my parents about it. And just last week, I saw him in the park. He yelled at me and then spent 30 minutes playing hide and seek with my kids. The first noble truth of Buddhism is that suffering exists. Suffering is. In Sanskrit, there's a kind of a perpetual tense. So literally it means that suffering exists in the way that the sky and the heavens exist. And when we act with kindness and compassion, we reduce the suffering that's in the universe. It's a simple proposition. Now, I believe that Pop will face his judgment and his reward. And I read everything that Betsy wrote so eloquently there on Facebook the other day about all his accomplishments and all that he did and everyone he met. But I'm here to tell you that beyond all of that, and in spite of all his yelling and all of his blustering, that he took some of that suffering out of the universe. And some of it was mine. Anyway, so long, Pop. You're a really good guy.
All right, we're done here.